Function with Purpose podcast. All things health, wellness, fitness, and education through the physical therapy perspective. I am Dr. Amy Bullock, owner and founder of Fortress Physical Therapy. Fortress PT is here to serve the Charlotte metro area by highlighting the importance of how and why physical therapy should be a part of your health and wellness lifestyle. Here we go. Welcome to Season 13, Episode 7 of the Function with Purpose podcast. Dr. Amy here with you today. Thanks for joining in. We're going to get to it. I am going to expose some things on my recent, number 2, HYROX Solo Open competition. So this past May, I participated in the New York City HYROX 2026. Oh my gosh, talk about a mental preparation leading up to the event and not only at the event. So comparatively to the previous year when I did Atlanta in 2025 in April, it is safe to say that I did make a PR without any penalties. So I was pretty stoked about that. But I just want to give you just a little bit of insight on how I prepped for this go around, how things have changed, and the actual competition inside my mind while it was going on and what happened to me. All right, we're going to get right to it. So hang in there. This might be a long one. Grab your coffee or just put this episode on while you're driving in traffic on the way to work or away from work. Because if you're in Charlotte area, we know how that goes. All right, so HYROX NYC 2026. So my approach to this was to rather begin 3 months out of preparation when I was prepping for Atlanta 2025. I doubled that. So I started at the 6-month mark. So around December, around Christmas time, I started prepping for this. So I was running already 2 days a week. One was kind of like interval style on the assault runner, and another day during the week was just like some long, slow distance for up to about like 45 minutes to an hour outside on the Greenway. So I slowly started trickling in another day of running and like conditioning. And that progressed up to the event that happened at the end of May. So luckily, I'm thankful that I kind of have a training partner to keep me accountable and kind of stemmed off some of her programming as well. Shout out to Anne-Marie. So in all, we both benefited from it because it was just straight up conditioning and running, and it helped keep our pace and timings consistent across the board. So indirect thanks to her coach, Coach Kyle, that dude is a mastermind of programming, Coach Kyle Ruth, and I've been learning a lot as an outsider alongside of that. But anywho, so rather than 3-month prep, I decided to do a 6-month prep. And on top of that, I hired a nutrition coach. So shout out to my nutrition coach, Coach Becky Rogers out of Training Think Tank. I knew of her and I've talked with her in the past because of the indirect relationship with my friend that I train with, Anne-Marie. So shout out to Coach Becky. Thanks for helping me out with that as well. So 6 months prep. First and foremost, the running, as I mentioned before. Instead of 2 days, I slowly added in another day of like running, threshold running, and then like a conditioning mixed modal of erg stuff. Right? Because if you look at the literature and look at the actual competition of HYROX, it is straight up endurance. How long can you go and how hard can you push yourself? So if you really build a strong cardiovascular endurance baseline, you'll have a little bit better success going into the competition and doing the competition itself. So this leads me to nutrition. when I did my first solo HYROX in April 2025, I didn't really track nutrition. I didn't have a nutrition coach. I knew I needed to eat a lot of food, but I was just very nonchalant about it. So this go around, I was very intentional, literally tracking my macros. I went from probably about 200, just for context, 225 carbs to about 350 up into the competition. So gradually increased that over time and learned some things on what my belly could tolerate throughout that process as well. So for me, for nutrition, to get more carbohydrates, not only eating your complex carbohydrates to help fuel your muscles and your tissue and your body and recover well, i.e. like potatoes, sweet potato, rice, couscous, even some pasta, but also adding a little bit more, some simple carbs or quick sugars. So more fruit intake. And my choice of fruit was grapes, strawberries, blueberries, apples, bananas. What else would I have? What was my other fruit? That was pretty much it. Maybe some watermelon here and there. But one of the big things for me that I really like is honey. So an athlete of mine makes local honey. She's a beekeeper. So I would utilize that honey into things like it within my food. And then I also bought like single serve packets via Amazon that would have like 15 grams or 10 grams of honey. So like 2 or 3 of those would give me about an extra 30 carbs. So I would titrate that around my longer running days too. So that gave me that extra carb bump to reach that 350-ish goal range. So those are probably the 2 main things that I changed going into this HYROX NYC prep this past May. So hired a nutrition coach to keep me accountable, and I began my prepping and training for this an additional 3 months, so a total of 6 months of this. If you're not familiar with HYROX, let me bring up my notes here just to make sure I don't mess it up. So with the HYROX, if you're not familiar with it, well, I'm going to drop the link in the comments below on that will take you to the main website of like what it is, where it came from, etc. But HYROX is basically like a fitness endurance event, and it's for time. So the faster, the better. And there's different tiers. There's an elite or RX division and an open division. You can do it by yourself, you can do it with another partner, or you can do it with 4 people, like a 4-person team. So this go around, I did solo by myself, the open division. But this is how it goes. There's 8 1-kilometer runs. And 1 kilometer is equivalent to just over a half-mile run. So it's actually 0.6 miles. So you start with a run, and then you go to 8 different functional fitness stations. So here's the stations. Station number 1 is a 1,000 kilometer ski erg. Station number 2 is a sled push. Station number 3 is a sled pull. Station number 4 is burpee broad jumps. Station number 5 is a 1 kilometer row. Station number 6 is dual kettlebell farmer's carry. Station number 7 is a sandbag walking lunge. And then the last station that you end with is 100 wall ball shots to a target. So in between those stations, with exception of the wall ball shot, you run 100 kilometers. So on average, normal people like myself, you're probably going to be in that range of like 4 to maybe 7 minute range, pending how great your endurance is. So my goal when I was training I was trying to shoot for around like a 5 to 5:15 minute mark. So that's how I trained. So, we're going to shift this. So now you know a little bit of like how HYROX is set up. So 1 kilometer run, then you go into station number 1, the row, then a 1K run. Station number 2 is the sled push, 1 kilometer run, then you go into the sled pull, etc., all the way to the wall ball shots. However, after you complete the wall ball shots, you run across the finish line. There's not another 1K run. So, in short, in all, with all that stuff, I actually did finish in an hour and 23 minutes without any penalties. So if you are listening to me or have been listening to me for the past couple years, when I did this in Atlanta, I did cross the finish line in Atlanta in an hour and 23. However, I had a 7-minute penalty because I forgot to run another lap on the course. So that put me at an hour and 30 minutes. So it is safe to say that at NYC, HYROX New York, I did actually complete the competition at an hour and 23 minutes without any penalties. So I was pretty stoked about that. Still a PR. 7 minutes faster, and if I were to guesstimate without a penalty from Atlanta, probably would have been about 5 minutes faster, I think. So awesome, cool, awesome, Amy. But like, let's get to the competition. Enough of this foo-foo stuff that you're talking about. Okay, glad you asked. Glad you stated that. All right, so NYC HYROX NYC 2026. It actually was the biggest U.S. held event this year thus far. It was so big with the amount of athletes that competed. There were about 50,000 athletes that competed over a 10-day period. So they had to do 2 weekends. And it was located on the west side in Hell's Kitchen area of Manhattan. And it was actually located on Pier 76, right across from the Javits Center. So if you're familiar with New York City, Manhattan, just look at a map, you can see it. Like we were right on this pier. So the entire competition happened on Pier 76. So we had all of these stations jam-packed on this pier, along with the athletes competing throughout the entire day, literally from like 8 a.m. till 10 p.m., no lie. And spectators going in and out of that competition. Gosh, talk about a lot of people and a lot of things in a very close proximal area. So first and foremost, that's what I noticed. When I actually got to go in and see how it was set up, not only on a particular like handwritten map, but like in the venue, things were tight. Things were very, very tight. Each station was very close to each other. So there was an athlete warm-up area. It was nice. It was pretty close to, when you enter the start line. So that was very nice and well off. And leading up to that, when it was my time to go, I went on a Sunday on May 31st, and my heat time was at 1:20 p.m. And I was lucky because my training partner that I trained with, Anne Marie, we both were in the same heat at the same time. So how cool is that? So we both went at 1:20 p.m. So we were literally like pacing off of each other, which was very nice. So, we start with the 1K run, and then we go into, the sled push. And then here's Amy. I go into the next 1K run. Felt good. The station number 1 was the 1K ski erg. Felt great. Did my second run. Sled push. Felt great. Did my third run, came in, and just went into the tunnel. Like, I got lost. I just kept running straight. So I realized that I was supposed to make a hard right turn to go head towards station number 3, which was the sled pull. that cost me time because I had to backtrack. So in the moment, of course, I kind of get a little upset, but I had to like a little bit sprint up to try to quote unquote make up for a little bit of lost time, which was probably about maybe 10 seconds, 5-10 seconds after I realized, oh my gosh, I was supposed to make a hard right to go towards station 3. It was so jam packed. There wasn't really good labeling. Everything that was labeled was like black and white, and there wasn't like bright colors out there. Like, hey, station 1 is green, station 2 is blue, or whatever, right? It was just all black and white. Like, so in the moment, like I just wasn't thinking. So that was one thing that I took a mental note about. So I knew that kind of cost me a bit. So after I did well on the pool, after the pool started the 1K run again, and then this is where it starts. That next station is burpee broad jumps, and that's about, I think it's 100 meter or 200 meters of burpee broad jumps. Don't quote me. I'm trying to, where's that at? Pause. Yeah, so anywho, burpee broad jumps. The burpee broad jumps were rough. That was a mental start to a little bit of falling apart. I stayed consistent, but when I got to the second down and back, I just remember thinking to myself, oh my God, I have another full length, like another like 25 to 30 burpee broad jumps. This is not fun. So I was able to complete it. And one thing that I do remember in that moment in time, my training partner, Anne-Marie, passed me. I looked at the corner of my eye and she passed me on the burpee broad jumps. And I thought, that little thing, I got to catch up to her. So went into the next 1K run after that. This was it. This was the, oh my gosh, my mindset. It was a huge cluster F in my head. I get on the row, start rowing, and all of a sudden, I don't feel good. My lips are covered in salt. Like literally, it looks like I have white lipstick on. My face is white, but I'm not like sweating a lot. I'm just seeping out salt for some reason. And I couldn't get like my mouth quote unquote watered, right? I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to row as I'm like wiping the salt off my lips. And literally, I'm not joking you, halfway through, I wanted to fall asleep. I wanted to quit. Like, I'm pretty sure my glucose levels just like plummeted or something. It was hard. It was so hard. And my mind kept saying, just quit. It's okay. You can take a break. And my body was like thinking, no. Like, this is what training was for. Like, in this moment of time, you need to tell yourself, this is where it's at. This is where you have to push through that mental barrier. So I kept telling myself that. And I remember my mom and my brother were like right in front at the barricade right there. And they're like cheering me on. And like, I mean, you can't really hear anybody. You're just like, what's going on? You're just in your head, right? I just remember that last 300 meters, like I literally my eyes were closing and I'm like, my head's bobbing. And then I just somehow started to retell myself, like, don't quit. Like, you have to keep rowing. Like, try to push with your legs and a little bit more pull with your arms, because you got a 1K run right after this. Like, you can do this. Don't do this. Don't fall apart. Don't fall apart. Like, you're running for charity. People donated money. They're cheering you on from afar. They are. And then all of a sudden, the row was completed and it was just like, all right, shit, I got to get off and just run. So my training partner, Anne-Marie, was actually right in front of me. So I got off right behind her. It was wild this entire time. Like, Literally, we were doing this competition next to each other. So thank God she was in front of me on that next 1K run after the row. I just paced right behind her because I was just slow as Moses. I'm sure I had a lot of like blood lactate levels just through the roof throughout my body. And I just kept saying, okay, stay behind Anne, stay behind Anne-Marie, stay behind her, keep moving your legs. So indirectly, like, I don't know if she knew I was behind her, but she helped me a lot in that moment. And then mental fortitude, right? This is the reason why you train for something like this, is to push through this portion of a hard thing, right? So that was like the big issue for me. The burpee broad jumps getting into the rower, which should be for everybody, because that is the meat of the competition based on the fitness stations. And that's the meat of the competition where people can just fall apart. And I was pretty proud of myself thinking back, I pushed through it. That was awesome. Like, made it happen. Thank God Anne-Marie was in the same heat. I paced off her and just kept going and going. So I'm going to fast forward through the other fitness stations and get to the wall ball shots, which were okay. I mean, by the time you get to that last station, you're like completely mentally fatigued. Your body's completely fatigued. You don't even know where you are. You can't really like hear anything outside of like a 3-foot radius from wherever you are on that wall ball shot. But I made it. I remember crossing the finish line. It was hard, and I fell to the ground, and my lips were still seeping of salt. Like, I looked like a ghost. And then meanwhile, I heard Anne-Marie just a little bit. She's like, we need to get a picture. We need to get a picture or something. And I'm like, water. Oh, I'm still breathing. Like, I'm trying to catch my breath. And somehow I stood up, and I think her husband took pictures. My mom took pictures from afar. I don't remember. Like, literally, she was holding me up. And I needed water. I needed a lot of water. So the experience of all that, you might be thinking, Amy, why the hell would you even do this? Like, what happened? Why did you experience that? Why did you plummet? Why did you almost want to quit? Why were your lips seeping of salt? Why? Like, just why? I think at an event like this, HYROX New York, like, it was awesome, being outside in an uncontrolled temperature environment. By the way, that temperature was absolutely perfect that day. But you're in this venue on a pier that's very tight. And there's a lot of moving pieces. It's very loud. There's thousands of people around you going in and out to do their specific station, and then they get into the runs. Like, it was a lot. And I definitely felt like my nutrition was on point. And it could have been a multifactorial effect, which is probably most likely, right? I wasn't used to training in an outdoor environment. I got to New York City a couple days prior, and my brother lives there. So we did some things, like we ate at a very nice restaurant the night before. So there could have been a little bit too much salt on things, right? Maybe I overhydrated with some extra salt intake, because I was actually drinking 1 element pack leading up to the event each day, and then liquid IV, and then some Gatorade. So I could have overcooked it. I mean, I felt fine until like that moment of time with the burpee broad jumps and the rower, and just my whole body, especially my face and my lips, just seeping of salt. And then, it just could have been, I probably just overconsumed too much salt, and my body was just trying to get rid of it. So, I don't know the answer to that, and I'm still trying to figure it out. But as far as like feeling fueled for the competition, yeah, like I felt fine. But long story short, I think a 6-month prep for something like this was the right way to go. Adding a nutrition coach on top of it, definitely for sure. And you have to track everything, right? Track what you did. Track the probably the main thing that I would do is not intake as much salt. It would just be basic water leading up to the event. And then maybe the day of, after I compete, like have one of those element packets. But having enough time to prep for something like this. If you're doubting like, 2 months, no, you're probably going to double or triple that if you've never done this. Get a nutrition coach in your back pocket. Have a healthcare recovery team, right? Which I was seeing physio, I was seeing chiropractic, I was seeing bodywork therapy, right? So like you have your team of people to lead up to something like this. And then in that moment of time, of that oh shit moment, which I had in the meat of the competition, it is mental fortitude. So that's one thing that I think I need to really work on. Like I need to try to have better mental imagery and a better mental fortitude approach to something like this when I do this again in the future. And again, the biggest thing is I think I would not intake as much like electrolytes or salt leading like that whole week leading up to the event. I think it might be too much. Now, thanks for hanging in there if you made it this far, but I'm just going to leave you with another couple tips here. So overall in general, HYROX New York 2026 was awesome. Like a great experience, to be out on the pier in the city, in the Hudson River area. Like if you can score a ticket to that, make it happen, do it. You will not be disappointed. Would I ever do a HYROX NYC again? No, unless it's indoor. There's too much uncontrolled variables that you can account for, especially when you do a competition outside. So I would try to vouch for an indoor competition, right? You want to control as much as you can so you can perform well. And also having a well-rounded team of people, right? So my training partner, Anne-Marie, my gym space, CrossFit Pineville, my healthcare team, Dr. Clay, True Motion Therapy Chiropractic, Dr. Zach with Onward Charlotte, Sarah Sumner with Prolific Bodywork here in Charlotte. Making sure you have a team of people to take care of your body throughout the process and training, right? My nutrition coach, Coach Becky, I'm really glad I started working with her. It's just very simple. It's just having a huge accountability system. So as far as my different approaches for my next HYROX, I don't know exactly when that will be. I am contemplating on competing at HYROX Nashville in December 2026, but I'm trying to hopefully do a partner one. If for some reason that doesn't work out, I'll probably wait until next year in 2027 to do another solo to see if I can beat my time of 1 hour and 23 minutes. With a goal of 1 hour and 20 or less. So that means I got to work on my running, right? And enjoying that process. And, I think I might also slightly change my training approach a little bit more. I need a little bit more plyometric work as well to generate more power. I have the endurance. I just need to keep building that. But I think there's just some other like more, not only, your CrossFit type approach, but I think I need more like plyometric work. And this is just Amy here. So, in all, just to rewind, HYROX New York 2026 was a great PR for me, or a personal record, 1 hour and 23 minutes without any penalties. Cool venue. I mean, you're in the city, right? And it was just super cool to see like all these people in this awesome event of fitness. And having that, I think my 6-month approach was appropriate for myself, and then having a healthcare team of people so that you have your systems in place to have better success. My key takeaways personally for myself on how my performance went and what I would change is I would change leading up the week of the event, not doing an element pack every day. I think it was too much salt. And then also, I honestly probably would pack my own meals, even if it's like those already pre-prepped meals. I don't know what, one of our local ones is 212 Meal Prep. Like maybe bringing some of those with me along for the ride, because again, when you go out to restaurants, you don't know how much oil they're cooking with, how much salt, etc. So I would make that change. And then also just the biggest confounding thing is the venue. I would choose an indoor venue again. Although New York City was cool being outside, an indoor venue has a little bit more controllability, right? Like a controlled environment that has AC. That's probably what I would definitely vouch for next, especially when I sign up for my next one. So, the last variable would be the mental fortitude. So really practicing on my mental game a little bit better. So that way when it becomes sucky in the moment, like you have some type of maybe quote that you tell yourself, or some type of reminder that will help you get through the shitty parts. Because it's going to happen, right? It's like, what's the point of training or doing all these prep things if you're not going to put yourself in difficult moments to test it? Don't be afraid. Just do it. Nike, just do it. So, HYROX NYC 2026. Yes, hit a PR of 1 hour and 23 minutes without penalties. Yes, it was a cool venue. Loved the time there. Yes, I actually got to do it with my training partner. We were in the same heat and everything, so it was like we were legit training together. Some things I would change. Mental game approach. Regular straight up water hydration without extra salt. Packing my own dinner meals. And the next big thing would be choosing a different venue. I probably wouldn't do an outside one again. I would want to choose an indoor venue. So do hard things. And HYROX is pretty hard. And, we'll see where this type of fitness competition goes. As far as my personal thoughts and experience on when to keep doing them, HYROX is the same across the board. You run 8 1Ks and you do the 8 functional fitness stations. That's it. It's the same thing every time. I think maybe a once a year thing would be a good approach. Maybe twice. Maybe one's going to be a partner, the other one's going to be a solo. And, train for something. So, thanks for hanging in there. That is my HYROX New York City 2026. Later this year, I'm actually going to age up. So I'm going to be in the 40 to 44 bracket. So I'm definitely going to have to do a solo. HYROX just to see where I am, right? But until next time, we will see how the training plan goes and the future next HYROX. That's a wrap for today's episode, Function with Purpose podcast. For more information on this episode, please check out the show notes within your podcast app. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, or drop your comments and questions below. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Thanks for the listen. Pursuit, precision, purpose.